Hey, First Baptist, hope you're doing well. Found a different place in my backyard, so here we go, just changing it up for you. I don't know if I'm really changing my wardrobe up though. I feel like I'm in the same sweats and sweatshirt like every day. One point I was thinking maybe I could trade in some of my jeans for sweats because that's all we're all wearing right now, right? I was thinking this end of this week we'll get a pleasant change, right? It's going to get into the 90s, and instead of sweats, I'm going to wear athletic shorts and probably a comfortable t-shirt. So the things you look forward to in quarantine, right? Changing one season's comfortable clothes for another's, right? Anyways, want to get to a couple announcements real quick. First off, just want to invite prayer requests. If you have a prayer request you want to share with the rest of the church, we're obviously putting out a lot of emails and communication. So if you have a personal need of yours that you want to share and you'd like people to pray for, let us know. We'd love to send it out. I know a lot of that's happening on an individual basis, which is awesome, and then community groups too, sharing requests with each other. But if you have anything specific, let us know. Secondly, if you have needs, please let us know. We want to help. If you need somebody to get groceries, people would be blessed. They would feel privileged to help you. So face masks, same thing. There are a couple people who want to supply face masks for people in need to help out brothers and sisters, so let us know. And then another one I had in mind this week was just tech stuff. So if you're not familiar with technology and maybe you're having troubles viewing the service for Sunday, or want to learn how to do a video call, let us know. We'll try to get you connected with somebody who will help you figure that out. So there are people, we have some people with a lot of knowledge and skill in that area. So. And then thirdly, as far as announcements, is Jesus changed my life. So let's do it this week. Get it out there. Let the world know. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, check the email that I'll send this afternoon. We're just letting the world know how Jesus has changed our lives. It's a very simple way to do it. Just a 60-second video testimony. If you keep it under 60 seconds, it's easier for people to view on Instagram if you're on Instagram. But regardless, let's do it. It doesn't seem like there's many reasons why we wouldn't. Just a great opportunity. So I want to talk for a couple minutes today about just follow up from yesterday's sermon on Lamentations and this idea of calling to mind the truth about who God is. That His steadfast love never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is His faithfulness. And what does that mean practically to do that, to call it to mind? And so just 3 points for you. First of all is to be proactive in this. So if you wait till you're in the middle of suffering to start trying to call these things to mind, it's much harder. You're not as prepared, right? So we want to be on the offense and begin to make this a rhythm in our lives of calling to mind these things in the course and of normal life. And so it might be something where you begin to have it where one of the first things you try to think about when you wake up is these realities in some form, these gospel realities that in Christ, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. He set His love on me. Or maybe you post something on your mirror, a verse card of a verse that expresses this, or maybe something in your car, some way that you're reminding yourself. Also, as you just on a daily basis, hopefully open up the Bible and read and study, look for these gospel truths. And then feed yourself on those. So be proactive in looking for these truths of God's grace and love, His mercy, His faithfulness towards us. Find ways to rehearse those. I know one thing for me in proactively rehearsing them is that at the end of my time in prayer each morning, there are several things that I kind of thank God for. And one of them is His love, just that I'm loved and accepted. I don't need to go earn people's love, because that's my tendency, is to try to get people to like me and love me. And I have to just thank God. Thank you. I don't need to do that, God. Thank you that I'm loved and accepted in Christ. And that's a proactive way that I try to start my day, rehearsing that, calling that to mind. So that's number one, is to be proactive. Let's be on the offensive. Develop those rhythms. 2 would be in the middle of it, when we're in the middle of the trial, of the suffering, to pause and slow down. It's real easy for us to be so caught up in that suffering and the pain and the problems, right? The hopelessness, that we can't hear anything else. That tape that I've talked about is playing at like double speed, and we can't seem to even get away from it. So what does it look like for you to kind of slow down and intentionally rehearse these truths? So for me, one of the things I often do, I will go on walks, and I will just tell God, like, God, you know what's going on. This is my heart, whatever that is, and then I'll rehearse again that big picture. Okay, God, I know that your steadfast love never ceases. God, I know that I'm yours because of Christ. I'm your child and you love me. I know that you have a plan in all of this, right? So I rehearse those truths. And for me, going on a walk, getting away from the office or whatever's going on is helpful for me to rehearse those things. It helps me slow down. I was talking to Nicole, and for her, writing things down is often helpful. I don't know, you could do this different ways, but one way you could do it is just to write in one column the things you're wrestling with, the pain or the struggle, the questions you have, the things that are kind of, again, playing in your mind, and then in another column, write down gospel truths. Steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. Great is your faithfulness, right? And so you can just imagine, get creative, but figure out ways to slow yourself down and and to write out, to think out, to pray out, to call to mind these truths, even in the middle of that suffering. So that's two, right? So be proactive. And then second, find ways to pause, slow down, and rehearse. And really what we're doing there is we're learning to filter our thoughts through these truths, right? Think of a filter. You're filtering your thoughts through these truths of who God is and what he's like, right? And that you're just trying to slow down to take time to do that, right? So that's number one, be proactive. Number two, slow down and rehearse these truths. And then number three, find people who will help you do that, right? Find people that when you call them and share a struggle with them, they'll display this kind of love in the way they listen to you. And then they'll speak to you about this love, right? They'll remind you, hey, I know it seems hopeless right now, but you are loved by God. And in his grace, he has set his love on you, and he's working in this even if you can't see this. Remember, you have a Father who cares for you. And so just find friends who will do that for you, right? And let's be those kinds of friends. Sometimes it's easy for us to sometimes just listen, which is good, and then we'll just kind of empathize and tell people it's going to be okay generically, right? And we don't get to the good news of the gospel in Christ, that we're loved and accepted. There's mercy and God is faithful. Or some of us may listen to the problems and then we go right to fixing it. Like, let me tell you how to fix it. Let me give you tips, right? What we need is friends, and what we want to be is friends who will listen, display that love, and then first point people back to Christ and what we have in him. And then at the end, that's still, even if we give advice in between, at the end, that's the last thing we want to remind our friends of, is, hey, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. So find friends and then hold on to those friends tight. Those are good friends that you can go with your suffering, your pain, and they will give you good news in response to that. So those are three practical steps: to be proactive in rehearsing, calling these things to mind, to pause in the midst of struggles, find ways that work for you to pause and filter your experiences through these truths, and then three, find friends who are going to help you do that as well. So I hope that helps. There's lots more that could be said. I encourage you to keep the conversation going and think through that on your own as well. But love you, First Baptist. Have a great day. I'll hope to see you soon.